Welcome to the real journey of the entrepreneur. The journey of any entrepreneur begins with a decision, then writing down your vision, then the execution of that vision. It is not for the faint of heart. It is for those who understand how powerful your mind is and that you can truly create the life that you deserve. It does require a unique formula that includes belief in yourself, a lot of consistency, connecting with an OG, a lot of tears, missing out on a few events and things, and taking a whole lot of risks that will allow you to see your vision and dream come to pass. This journey of the entrepreneur is from the perspective of a wonderful mother, a business owner, whose goal is to break generational barriers and normalize the process of wealth building and financial wellness through entrepreneurship, all while creating a social and give back along the way. I am sharing this journey with you and invite you to share this process with me. Let's do this together. It's my own, but you have to feel comfortable to own it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right? I will always support you.
Thank you.
Well, hey there, good people. I am really excited to have you join another episode of the real journey of entrepreneurship. And as we are in this space and growing our businesses and developing, it is really an honor to have anyone who wants to take courageous steps to share their journey. Being an entrepreneur is not for the faint of heart, especially when you are doing this full time. It is one where you are consistently pouring into your craft. You are consistently with discipline, ensuring that these dreams that you have on your vision board and your book, that you are executing them to ensure that you are building a legacy for you and generations to come. My name is Anita Pierce, and I am the host and producer of The Real Journey of the Entrepreneurship. I have the best seat in the house because I get to interview courageous entrepreneurs who really make these decisions to jump into this space, whether full-time, part-time, quarter to time. But it's really about an opportunity for all of us to be able to grow, develop, and bank on these dreams. And my next guest is absolutely no different. But I'm going to tell you something. I had an opportunity to taste the product. And when I tell you that folks in my house didn't allow me to complete all of them, but I did have a chance to at least finish one bottle. And when you meet my next guest, you will understand that there is a beauty to be able to create something, to combine something, and to share it all through tea. And no, I'm not talking about gossip, folks. I am talking about, that smell of when you are brewing something in the morning, in the afternoon, high or low. Tea is something that you can take along with you, but also to help you to heal your mind, body, and spirit. Enough about me. Come through, Tiffany. Hey, Tiffany.
Hello. How are you?
How you doing?
Doing well. Celebrating this wonderful Monday.
Yay. So I am really excited to unpack because Tiffany and I had a chance to meet at a soiree over the summer. And I was glad that I had an opportunity to stop and to interact because the tea is really, really good. And I'm not just saying that just because Tiffany is here. It has a good taste. You know how you taste some teas and then some of them are bitter, and it was very, very good. So Tiffany, please describe to the folks what the name of your business is and what do you do to heal our soul through tea.
Thank you so much. So my business is called PersonaliTEA. It's a tea company that allows customers to mix and match herbs in order to actually personalize their tea flavors. And when I got the idea, it just hit me like, yeah, this could be something different. I worked at a lot of different places and I've seen a lot of things, but what stood out to me was that there wasn't always room for customization from a lot of the brands that I've come across. And so I wanted to be that change in the tea industry because when I would be shopping in the store and I would come across Bigelow or I would come across Lipton, I would just always see pre-made flavors because that's all, that they have to offer. But having that experience for people to choose was something that really the change for me, and I wanted to present that for others. So that's PersonaliTEA.
So that's pretty amazing. Amazing in a sense, whereas you saw something, you have a high appreciation for tea, but you're like, well, there's something missing that I want to see. And so tell us, how did you get started with PersonaliTEA?
It's a long story, but let's go back to 2020.
Oh, oh,
That was a year.
that was a year.
It was actually in the beginning of 2020, before the pandemic officially hit. It was
Mm,
about January or February. And I remember looking on my Instagram feed and seeing hairstylists. I remember seeing people who own boutiques. I remember seeing nail techs. And I remember just looking at these young business owners, especially business owners of color who I was following, and just saying, like, wow, look at them really doing something for themselves. Like, look at them doing something inspirational that they love. And I wanted to give something to people as well. I wanted to be able to create something from scratch that I didn't see. And I remember thinking to myself, I come from a Jamaican background. What's something that we all have in common? Something that we all use, something that we all love. And I thought about tea. And I actually worked at a Pinkberry in the Woodbury Commons. I still work there now part time, but I was working there, and something that always stood out to me was when the kids would come up and look at the toppings to go on the yogurt, and they're like, "Oh, I want this," and every order was always different from the next.
mm,
I remember thinking to myself, how can I do that with tea? And I'm like, you know what? Let me see if I can gather different herbs, popular herbs that people would love, make it a one-stop shop for them to be able to combine different herbs. And initially, I didn't picture an online experience. I pictured a storefront. And so immediately I was writing down, all right, what are some names I can come up with? Because this is a concept for them to be able to mix and match their own flavors. I got on the phone with a friend and I'm going through all these names. I'm like, what about responsibility? He's like, come on, like, how is that, girl? How is that going to make sense? Like, how does that relate to your concept? We're going through all these names and I'm using all the words that end in T, activity, and this and that. And he's like, no, it's not working. Till I came down to two, and I was stuck between creativity and personality because they both kind of made
mm.
sense. Creativity would have made sense where it's like they can create their own bags, but personality just it the ring of it just hit a little different to me. And I was like, yeah, this is it. They can personalize their tea favorites from scratch. And I wrote it down on my iPhone notes. I still have the note here from 2020. And throughout the year, I made an Instagram page for it. I didn't have a website yet, but it was just kind of like a coming soon kind of thing. And everyone was like, oh yeah, I'm so excited. I'm ready to support. October came and I was like, you know what? I really have to like hone in on this now. I was on unemployment at the time because I was substitute teaching earlier that year, lost the job because the school had shut down due to COVID. So I figured I would save up my checks from unemployment. Then I invested into a couple different herbs. I think at the time it was 10 before I increased to 12. And then I went from there, created the site. I had a friend who worked on sites and she was like, I can do it for you. How come you never asked me? She created it for me. And then the rest is history.
Wow. So I am going to do a couple of follow-ups because it's so interesting to hear how many businesses were created in the midst of COVID,
Mhm.
right? At the height of it, while we were trying to figure out, what this thing was at the time and how do we survive it. But you saw an opportunity. And the other thing that I learned from what I heard you say is that you were diligent once something piqued your curiosity. you became diligent, and it seems like the universe was like, okay, you need to see this, you need to see that, you need to see this, you need to see that, but you also wrote it down. I am a huge fan of when things are inspiring you
Yeah.
to write it somewhere, whether it's in a book, on a board, in your case, in a phone, because it does allow you to fall back or remind yourself of this thing that hits your spirit, right? So that's really amazing. And also the fact that you work part-time. Most people think that when you're in this space that you got to make a complete leap. I do not encourage it unless you have a significant capital plan, to manage your personal expenses, because unless you are living, in a space where you have no overhead or etc., you still have expenses, living expenses. So I'm really excited to hear that. My next question, right, is more so dealing with the types, like how did you choose your teas? Like, what was your method? And also, what were your startup costs? Because a lot of times we think we just, we go from here, and you're not using, the pre-made product. You're curating
Yeah.
specific herbs for healing.
Yeah.
So do
Um,
tell.
so I remember thinking to myself, well, how can I get these herbs? Because it's not like I grow them in my backyard. But I remember looking online and I'm trying to find vendors, that sell raw organic herbs. I
Mhm.
did my research to see what are some herbs that will benefit people. I know a lot of people, including myself at times, deal with anxiety. I have a lot of friends who would say, I can't really sleep well. So I looked into herbs that can help with that. I looked into things that were calming, things that help with boosting one's immunity, doing my research to really get an idea of what would be best and just starting small, because if I got like 100 different herbs, it's kind of like, where would they go, number one, because I'm running this from home.
Right.
But also like just trying to be realistic, with the goals that I set. So I thought of, okay, here's a number 10. I'm gonna maybe have hibiscus, and I'll have lemon peel, ginger, spearmint, elderberry, things like that, and go from there. At this time, iced teas weren't even a thought in my mind, but it was just the mix and match process was the idea. And then when I looked into lavender and chamomile, I thought of, okay, these are ones that help with sleep. This helps with anxiety. Some people might just like the taste of lavender. Some people might just like the taste of elderberry, but it helps with immunity boosting and things like that. So definitely all of the research played a role in the herbs that I chose. Startup cost, I had to invest into the boxing. At the time, I didn't know much about like branding, and the stickers were like my go-to because I didn't know about like branding for boxes. Um, it looked a little crazy, I won't lie, because at first I'm like, I just have like these regular cardboard boxes, folding them in and just putting tea bags in them. Um, and then the herbs were pretty pricey from the vendor that I found. So probably a couple hundred. It did take me a couple weeks to save and gather all of my funds. There were weeks when I was like, oh, I can invest into these two herbs for now. And then, the next week I'll invest into these. And then I'll get the stickers next week. And then I'll get the boxing. And then I had to pay for shipping and things like that, because at the time, order, the first couple orders that I had, I didn't have the website up and running yet. People had to text me or DM me, this is what I want. I wasn't even fully prepared yet, but I still made the move somehow and just made it happen. So,
So I'm actually going to share, if okay, your website, because I think that by us talking about it, I think folks should be able to see, some of the products that you have. So how did you come up with the names like LL Cool Tea and Mint Tea and Lit
um,
Tea, you know,
yeah.
imported 100% hun? It's how do you pronounce it? Because I was trying to be, is it hunted or
Yeah.
a?
Yeah.
I
100%
got it.
funny.
So it's really, things like entanglement. And I was like, oh, that's a good one. It
Yeah.
brought me immediately back to the, um, what's the show? The Jada Pinkett Smith and all
Yeah.
that. Like, oh, that's so dope. What a good plan works. So tell us how You really got through all of this. And I have to tell you, the two that I had, and then the other ones folks in my household just demolished. I had the LL Cool tea, which is really, really good. And then I had like a sip of the mint tea, and that was it. Everything else I
Oh.
did not. So that means I have to get some more. Describe your process. Like, what did that look like for you in, wordsmithing? Like, did you do like, um, focus groups? Like, what was your process for this? Because they're really good.
Thank you. I appreciate that. It actually comes very natural to me. I am actually a copywriter as well. So when it comes to copywriting, we often have to, be wordsmiths, think on our feet real quick. I have been a poet since I was a kid. I've always been a fan of dad jokes. I love making people laugh and things like that. Even before personality was a thing, I would like post, little pictures on Instagram and have like these witty captions and have all the puns. And my friends would be like, I'm about to start paying you for captions, girl, because how do you think of these? I would have like a little caption book in my notes, honestly. Like, this is what I have to post with my next picture kind of thing. But my brain has always been wired that way. And when I created personality, the name itself, I wanted it to be a pun, which it is. And then I was like, I can't stop here. The products have to give that same energy as well.
Right.
Um, so when it came to the herbs, hibiscus, elderberry, ginger, I can't do anything with those. That's just how they come. But I can make, combinations for people if they have trouble deciding what they want. So if they don't want to mix and match and they want options like, what do you suggest? You have respect your elders, you have entanglement, you have, all these different options. And I wanted the names to be fun. I always love putting a smile on people's faces. So I wanted it to be a joyful experience, not just, a mundane mix and match experience, just something fun that can make people smile as well. So that's my experience there. And it's funny because entanglement, I also love including my consumers. So I remember on my Instagram, I posted like a poll and I'm like, can y'all vote for me? I want to come up with like a flavor that's seasonal. Tell me if you like mint condition, because I also like that 90s group. But tell me, mint condition is a fave, okay?
Right,
I was
right.
like, like, tell me about like mint condition or entanglement. But at the time, the Jada and Will thing was like everywhere. So I was like, this might be it. And that had the most votes, even though the vote it was kind of close, but entanglement took the win. And I went from there. And I remember just getting the compliments like these names, like you just keep going. Like, do you ever stop? And I'm like, no. My brain is just like that. But I always draft ideas. Like I said, when I was coming up with the name of the company at first, creativity and personality, it took a lot to choose one, because when you just have so many ideas, it's like, wow, your brain just doesn't stop.
So, follow-up question, right? So, I do not own one of those, I guess you would call it like a strainer. So if I was to purchase, because I actually the what I had was already made tea.
Yes.
So for those who are interested in purchasing their own combination, like how would you do that? Do they have to purchase like a certain tea strainer, or what does that look like for someone
So,
who's never experienced this like myself?
right. Definitely understand that. So for those who do order and they mix and match online, it will come in tea bags depending on how many they choose, whether it's 5, 10, 15, or 20.
Okay.
I know some people they like tea bags, but some like loose leaf tea where they can boil it themselves. I know people use tea for different purposes. Some like to steam, some use it for like, when they're in the bath and stuff like that. So I offer loose leaf tea as well. So that would just come in like one whole pouch, the personal pouch.
Hmm.
But yeah, it's kind of like whatever they want. But if they do have the bag option, 5, 10, 15, or 20 will come in the bags. And whatever they mixed and matched online is what would get sent to them.
So that's that. Now you have me piquing my curiosity. So some of these herbs, I know that there is not a neti pot, but women sometimes use it to steam, and
Mhm.
it's like a pot, and I don't know why it's escaping me right now. Are some of these herbs? Do some of your clients use that for the purpose of? It's not a bath. It's going to come to me. They boil it, and they send it to steam
Mhm.
their vaginal area.
Yeah.
I can't
I,
think of I forgot
I
what it's
think,
called.
is it Yanni steaming?
Yes, yes.
Okay. I'm like, I feel like I've heard of that a lot of times. Honestly, I promote the teas that are for consuming, but I tell people all the time if you're open to do whatever you want with the herbs. I can't, it's not my say over like how
Right.
you use it at all. I'm totally open to however people tell me that they use it. So if they're like I use it to steam my face, I put it in my little face steamer. I'm like, that's cool. If they're like, I'm gonna drink it. Some people, they mix their own herbs, and then they're like, I made my own iced tea out of it instead of like
Mhm.
buying my iced teas. So I'm like,
Right.
that's super cool too. If you want honey bush and elderberry and lemon peel, and you want to put that in some ice and some water, by all means go ahead. But they use it for whatever they want. No one has ever told me that they've used it for yoni steaming yet, but I'm interested to know if anyone has. So if anyone has used it, let me know.
Yeah, that would be interesting because I heard of it and I've done it like probably once personally.
Mhm.
And when I saw some of the teas, I'd probably be the first one. Yeah, I tried it, like, just trying something new and interesting. But
Mhm.
some of the herbs, I know that they have healing properties. Um,
Yes,
and so I would be curious. Yeah, I'll probably be your test dummy. I'll let you. But I just
definitely
have to
let
get,
me
I just
know.
have to get some of your actual herbs because you mentioned that you source them organically, right?
Yes.
So that's very new and interesting to me because when I think of specific and it's organic, are the costs different just in terms of where you source your product specific since you are going specifically for organic products versus other?
Yes, I would say the costs are different. Since starting, I've looked into different vendors and like different prices and things like that. And I often find that depending on where they're grown or where they're from before being shipped to me, the pricing does vary. Um, so when I first started, I'm like, ooh, this is kind of pricey. But there's some from like Africa, and then there's some that are like from the US, and like they're always different for sure though. But my initial vendor and the vendor I still use now, the pricing, it's fair though. It's fair for what it is.
And so have you considered growing your own
Mhm.
product?
For sure, definitely. I always said I wanted to eventually go to Jamaica and live out there and like just source my own things. My family's over there, and when I go to my grandma's house and they have mangoes growing from the trees, and they have guinea, and they have like everything, aloe vera. It's amazing, and I always wanted that for myself. My dad, I live with my family, so my dad actually grows mint at the side of the house, which is used in the mint tea. So a lot of the times I'm like, you know what, let me try to see what I can do with what we have, what we grow, and go from there.
Wow. Okay. So now, okay, I have some more questions. Have some more questions. Right. So your honey, your honey, 100% honey. Where does that come from? The honey.
I just wanted raw, unfiltered honey. My goal is to have everything fresh, everything that is just helpful for the environment. That was the reason why I also packaged the honey in glass instead of plastic. And while it's a little more, tricky to use, some people drop it and they break and things like that. Still working around those kind of things, but I definitely want to be environmentally conscious. When I first got my tea bags, I'm like, I want them to be biodegradable, things like that. So, 100% honey, 100% raw and organic. I still don't know how to pronounce the city in New York. I don't know if it's Depew or Depew, but I remember looking into farms that are close by. I think it's within an hour from where I live, and got in touch with the owner, and they're like, yeah, we have honey here, like you can order in like bulk and everything. And I'm like looking into it, and I'm like, yeah, this looks good. And they're telling me about it, and they're like, the honey that you'll typically find on shelves, they won't have like the little particles and things that you see that we have and stuff like that. And it was just so cool to see like how it crystallizes differently from like the honey that I see in the grocery store. It's super cool to know, what's out there that's raw that we can use. And people have told me that they use it for their skin, that it's helped with burns and things like that. And it's super just inspirational to know that I'm able to provide something like this. So
The more what I find about honey is that if you have allergies, it helps to minimize or reduce some of your allergic experience with the environment. And
Yeah.
so I am a huge fan. I do not buy any over the counter honey at all, just because of the properties that exist and what it does, and
Mhm.
how it breaks down better within my body and my family's bodies as well. So it's
Yeah.
really good to know that you're very intentional about um, and actually like socially conscious about what the environment and what you're serving to your clients and what we are putting into our body. So that's really good and amazing to know.
Thank you.
So what's next?
I definitely would like to open up my own storefront or just see my products on shelves. I'm actually a part of a group called Girl to Girl. I heard about them sometime in 2019, and I didn't really know what they did. I would see the owner. Shout out to Malia, she's the owner. She's found in Atlanta, but she would be like, "Yeah, we're having this book club, and we're having this," and I'm like, "Oh, okay, cool. So what else do y'all do?" And then she's like, "It's really for girl entrepreneurs." I'm like, "Okay." Is it like a networking thing? She's like, "Yeah, we have pop-ups and everything." So I joined. She kind of like works in different areas. So she would have events in New York, in Brooklyn, and then she would also have them in Atlanta where she is. And then she told me she recently got a storefront. She's like, "Hey, if you want your stuff out here, just let me know. Here's a
Mm.
rent, this and that, and I can have it on the shelves." And just knowing that people are out there in Atlanta being able to buy and support Black owned businesses is super amazing. So I would love to participate in that. I haven't gotten around to her yet with everything that's going on in life, super busy, but I definitely think that might be next for me. Um, Definitely working with different pop-up shops, networking, getting to know so many more business owners, and just learning and growing as I go.
So I have another question. Um, just in terms of advice, because one thing I always want to keep reminding those who have been supporters of this show and other parts of my specific business, that being an entrepreneur is not easy.
Yep.
Right? It's not. It's really dope. It's fun. It's exciting when you're able to take things out of your phone, notepad, and just create it. But it is a process. It's not overnight that you now have this. What are some of the advice or best practices that you can offer in your experience right now? Because you do have other, life experience, but just in this space where you are now, as CEO and owner of Personality, like what can you offer? Someone wants to, they say, Tiff, listen, I want to do this thing that you're doing. What can you tell me?
Definitely write all of your ideas down, and whatever you're able to create, stay with it. Period. Stay with it. Don't shake. Don't tremble. Just stay in it. Um, there are days when I get a little down. I'm like, man, I haven't had a sale in like 2 months, and then the next week I have like a whole bunch of orders. It's always up and down. But if you're really passionate about something, you will stay in it. There was a time when I had pop up shops back to back over the weekend, and my husband actually came and helped me out. And at one of the pop up shops, basically everything sold out. I was super happy, and I'm like, oh, I know tomorrow's gonna go well. I had one or two orders throughout the whole pop up shop, and I was just at that table like, wow, is it the placing of my table because I'm in the corner, or like what's going on? Am I not getting enough shine? I was just like, wow, I'm super shocked because yesterday went so well, but today didn't. And it's going to be like that. I remember when I got started, my uncle told me, like, most businesses fail when they start, but it's you that has to keep pushing. Like, you have to continue, you have to find the passion in it and the joy in it every day. And just see that the beauty that you create, someone else will find it amazing too. So definitely stay in it and stay knowledgeable as well. Continue to learn from others.
All right. So I want to go back a bit because this is why I appreciate the courageousness of entrepreneurs who come on the show, because y'all share real stuff, right?
Yeah.
Every day you're not making sales, right?
Mm-hmm.
So my question is, how do you manage through the process of the sales and not? How do you manage, like, in terms of, like, what do you do for when there are, like, major gaps financially,
Mhm.
as an example?
I would say, honestly, well, I'm very religious, so I pray about things often. I'm a big prayer girly. Um, but I definitely think planning ahead is super important as well. Like I'll plan for like the next year, and within that next year I'm planning for the year after that, or like, just upcoming months. What kind of events can I attend that will benefit me, to benefit my network? What kind of events can I participate in and, attend that can benefit my business overall? I remember at some point between last year and earlier this year, after being in business for about 3 years now, the account that I had, it just wasn't where I expected it to be. And I'm like, after all this time, you know what I'm saying? It was very shocking. And I'm like, I got to do something. But if I invest into a pop up shop, that's like half of what's in the account. So that's like unrealistic. But finding a way every time will make all the difference. So if that means me being able to start again with my own personal money, and investing what I make at work or what I make out of my tips at work, and then using that as my, means to get to this pop up shop, then I'll go from there, and then I'll start to see my account increase and so on. So I think just finding that little area every time to be able to push you forward and something that can launch you.
And the other question is about, how do you manage your mentality, your mental health throughout this process? Because one of the things that I personally find is that it can be really lonely. I have a support system, um chosen, right? Because what I also find is that everyone doesn't understand your vision, your goals, your dreams, even sometimes your spouse. And I say that, sometimes it could just be because you have a vision, something's been placed on your heart.
Yeah.
Doesn't necessarily mean that everyone will buy in, and doesn't also mean that everyone will go where you're trying to go. How do you manage your mental health throughout this space that you're in now?
I think definitely taking some time to learn more about myself and things that I like to do outside of being an entrepreneur. Sometimes I just like to read a book, go for a walk, listen to podcasts, scroll on TikTok.
Hmm.
But just taking time for me has been a blessing, and it's been super important for my mental health. Um, and then also just connecting with people and just learning from others, learning how they operate under hard circumstances, and just growing from that. Another thing that I've learned though is when we're on social media, it can be just filled with, this is what's going on in my life, this is what's going on in my life. And then it's so easy to compare,
Yep.
but I've learned to just keep those blinders on. Like my business could be here, and then I scroll for 1 second and I see this person traveling to Dubai, and they're making all these sales and this, that, and the third, and I'm comparing myself like, man, I'm not there yet. But just being able to remember that is not my story. What I have in front of me is mine, and I just have to do what I can with it to make sure I get to where I need to go, and just not comparing at all. I feel like there's a thin line between like inspiration and, I guess, like imitation in a sense. And I feel like I've gotten to learn that line for sure. Like I've looked at certain posts that people have made, and I'm like, oh, let me try to turn that into something for personality, and it didn't do the numbers that I saw that theirs did or something. I'm like, let me just be myself, and use my own ideas and do this for it to, prosper. So yeah.
Yeah, that's yeah, I remember when I first started my business. Like, I started my business 8 years ago, but I really got focused, let's say about 5 years ago, when I was really actively doing things within my business that generated the sales that I desired. And I just remembered that I would use social media, unfortunately, as a measure, right?
Mm-hmm.
You know, I don't dress up every day. When
Right.
you see my profile picture, that was for, utilizing it to market to a certain audience. I don't wear makeup every day. I'm not always, perfect, in a perfect. And that's what I had to recognize, that, perfection is being promoted on social media. And
Mhm.
so for me as a business owner, as a mom as well, that, to your point, really understanding my calling and who I am as a person and what I have to offer.
Mhm.
Those, when I see, we post the best of ourselves. It's not,
Right.
the day-to-day stuff or the times that we're down, or, a lot of times I move in silence. And when people get wind of the things that I've become, why you didn't tell me? I'm like, I have to keep focusing on, the goal and where it is that what's driving me, what's my goal, what's my legacy, what's my vision on my life. And
Mhm.
that's what I use social media as now for, promoting business, and really, um, finding restaurants is what I use it for. The other thing, and goodies and snacks and stuff. But, for the most part, the comparison is unhealthy. And
Yeah.
so I myself have, I toggle in and out. I use it to help to support visibility, but, you know, and I know some of the folks that I follow on social media, and I'm like, y'all need to stop. Y'all need to just stop it. Like, just stop it.
Honestly, it's so true. Oh my goodness,
Stop
it is
it.
so true.
Yeah.
I remember having my first ever event too, because I always said I wanted personality to be a well-rounded experience. So I'm like,
Mm,
I wanna do events, but how can I incorporate that into tea? And I think the first event I had was October 13th, 2021, because October 13th, 2020 was when I actually launched the business.
mm,
2021, I'm like, I want to have a tea party. I want everyone who's ever supported, you could buy tickets and I want you to attend. I had it in Manhattan, and it was a fair amount of people that showed up, but I remember thinking I just had so much more of an expectation because so many people from like out of state or out of the country were able to come, and I'm like, I feel like I'm going to have a lot of people there. I was going to be surrounded by so much love, but it was maybe like 10 to 15 people
mm,
total. And I just, even though it felt like just so much support in that room and so much love, I still felt a little down at the end of the night. Like,
mm.
man, did they waste their money? Like, kind of second guessing myself. But I had to remember, like, these people took the time to be here. And you really have to pay attention and be grateful for what you do have. So.
So I do have a question. Did you build off of your event? Did you do
Um,
it
did I build like in terms of my consumer base and
again? No, did you do the event again?
oh, I didn't. I actually didn't. I thought I was going to be able to 2022 in
Mhm.
October, and with work I just started a new job at the time in Brooklyn, so I was like back and forth to the city, but it was really tough. But I did do another event after that, and it was February of, what was that, 2022, 2020, yeah, February, I think, of 2022. And I made something called Find Your Cup of Tea, because I wanted people to have fun. I wanted it to be a little, time for a little kiki. And that was during Valentine's week. So I'm like, you know what, people can mix and match herbs all they want, but let's see how they mix and match with the personalities around them. Let's see who ends up with someone for the night, like, let's see how this goes. And I made it like a two-part event where they could do like a paint and sip kind of portion, and then also like the speed dating. So that was super fun. And of course, mostly women showed up. There weren't enough guys there, but they still made it work and they still had a lot of fun. We ended up painting a scene out of Poetic Justice. So it was really fun. Music was playing. We had lots of food, lots of snacks. And it's moments like that that keep me going. But at the same time, like I said, it's just one of those like, I thought I would have more, and but that's the life of a business owner. You just really have to keep going. I
That
think
is,
now, oh, I'm sorry, go ahead.
no, go ahead.
Well, I was saying that's what made me say, like, what if I try this in different ways? So I'm thinking to maybe bring it to Atlanta, partner with Malia, because she's always said, like, maybe you should come out here for a little bit and do some more things out here. So we're thinking about maybe bringing Find Your Cup of Tea to Atlanta, perhaps next year for Valentine's Day. Who knows? But I think it'll be super fun.
Well, I hope that you continue to do your events, because I can share that 3 years ago, I envisioned bringing business owners for a brunch together.
Mhm.
And so I did it the first year. I had like 30 people attend. So like you have like this vision. You're like, they're gonna come because they love me. They love me.
Yeah.
And I'm putting in on this work. My first year, I took a loss in on the event, but I didn't, right? So if I go by numbers, I took a financial hit, right?
Mm,
But if I look at, I had 30 people that I created an accountability group post the
mhm.
event, that I wound up doing it again, and just kept, it got bigger. So now I'm going into my third year. Next year, 2024 will be my third year, and I'm doing it again.
Yeah.
And it's this year I did it. I just made a little bit of money, not like a whole lot. So I just broke even.
Mm,
But the idea was to keep doing and refining that thing, because as you mentioned, earlier in your comments, that you just have to continue to keep going. And that's why I asked you if you were going to do the event again, because the first year you do something, or the first time you do something, it is absolutely never perfect. um,
right.
and if it is, you're a genius. I'm just, but it's never perfect. Like, and even though you've done it, so I have experience in hosting conferences and events for other people, and they had a lot more resources. Here I am building brand and thing on my own, essentially on
Mhm.
my under my name. So I really hope that have the courage to do it and to keep doing it and find partners, whether it's out of state or in state. I may even think about how we can work together for the brunch, because as you were talking, I'm like, oh, that would be dope for day two. But we could
Yeah,
talk about that offline,
for
what
sure.
that looks like. So I am so excited to have, had this conversation, but I'm not going to let you go as of yet. I like to close out the show with a couple of rapid questions, usually one word. Most people, answer multiple is okay. So let me know when you're ready for the rapid fire.
All right, let me prep for this. Get
Come
the
on, bring it
brain
in.
going.
You got this. You got this.
And it has
Are
to
you,
be one word answer.
some of them are, but usually they're not.
Okay.
So
All right.
I got a question. Are you a native New Yorker?
Yes.
All right, so then this question would be relevant to you. From the city or from upstate? That's the other question I need to ask.
From the city, the Bronx.
Oh, so it's all right. So first question is usually, what's your favorite borough? But you said the BX, so I'm not going to
Oh.
deny you. I'm not.
Are you from the Bronx? Or you're not from the Bronx?
I'm from Brooklyn.
Okay, you gave Brooklyn energy.
Yeah,
I was
Brooklyn
like, it's
energy.
either. I was like, she gives like Harlem a little bit, Manhattan, but we only really jack Harlem. But I'm like, Brooklyn. Oh. I like Brooklyn
I
though.
am from
Brooklyn.
Brooklyn, and so what do you fave? Is it uh ice cream, or what's your favorite dessert? What do you dessert?
Hmm. I think ice cream actually, because I love to put different toppings on ice cream, and I love to have ice cream with everything. Like if it's cake, I'm like, nah, I gotta have ice cream with it. Like I have to have like a little scoop with some cake or like something warm. My aunt, she really likes to make like banana bread, and when it's warm, I'm like, let
Mm,
me just run to the store real quick, get
mm.
some vanilla ice cream on top.
My little person want me to bake, and I'm refusing to this week. So refusing.
Take
Um, yeah,
it.
I think we're gonna do something. Sneakers or heels? What's your
Sneakers.
preference? Pizza or burgers?
Hmm. I say pizza.
In 3 years,
Mhm.
what will change within a community that you are choosing to serve?
The outlook and the positivity. Just a quick story. I'm
Mhm.
sorry, but
You're
I
fine.
remember when I started looking for some storefront opportunities earlier this year, and I'm like, I really want to see my brand out there. I want to see it behind a door. And I looked in some different areas because when I spoke to Malia, shout out to her again from Girl to Girl, she was like, I just rented a spot for a little bit and I was just selling my stuff there. So maybe you don't have to deal with all the pressures of like, getting a business loan, then getting a storefront. Like she's like, maybe just move around for a little bit, see what you like. I'm like, all right, cool. So I started looking on like some event space website and I came across someone who had a spot in upstate New York. I don't remember the town. It said something else online, but when she gave me the address when we spoke offline, she said she was actually in Newburgh. And I'm like, all right, cool. I'll head over there. Went to Newburgh and it was right like on Broadway. And if you know Newburgh, it can be a little scary. I won't lie. I'm not from Newburgh. I don't really hang around the area. I went there for college for like a year and a half, but it was very closed off to the rest of Newburgh. So I didn't really experience Newburgh like that. But the things I hear, I'm like, Newburgh is a little scary. And I went inside and the business owner herself, she looked a little frightened, like she didn't really want to be there. But I remember she was speaking to me and she was like, I see so much for you and I don't want to just like keep you here. You know what I'm saying? Like, I feel like you can prosper elsewhere because the people in this area, they're looking for like the next smoke, the next bottle. They're not looking for tea. They're not looking for what can benefit them. I'm just be honest with you, And I'm like, all right, so I want to see to it that like the community that I serve, that they have a change of heart, that they have a change of mind as to how to benefit themselves. And as someone of the Black community, I feel like we have so much potential, especially when it comes to like healthcare. And I didn't really take a lot of things seriously, a couple of years ago. In my dad's side, we have a lot of health issues on his side, like diabetes and high blood pressure, things like that. And especially from a Jamaican background, we make a lot of red meat, like that's like the norm. And I remember recently, I'm like, I have to make a change, especially after going to the doctor and having like a health scare earlier this year. They're like, you have fatty liver. Did you know that? Do you know that, you have all these different things? And I'm like, no, I didn't know. And I think, in the Black community, a lot of things that we find normal, it's not supposed to be. And when she was saying it to me, I'm like, yeah, you're right. Like they really are looking for the next bottle. When I was on that street, I'm like, that's a liquor store right there. And there's another one right there. And there's another one right there. Like, but I want to be the one to stand out. But, it's like how when that's not what's expected. So I definitely hope to see a change of heart and just a more positive mindset towards our health overall. Because that's what I want. I want my business to benefit us for sure.
Health is not optional these days. It's not optional. You have to, especially, we're entrepreneurs. I happen to be a mom. I happen to be married. And throughout all of that, prioritization of taking care of yourself by what you eat, what you visualize, what you take into your mind, body, and spirit. If that's not okay, then the reality is we really aren't being our best selves and focusing in to those who we are looking to serve within our community and within our family and the dreams that we want to create.
Right. I agree. I feel like there's a lot of power in looking forward and like doing what you can today to make a better self tomorrow. So I definitely agree.
And so I am looking forward to having you come back on your schedule, on your time. But if you want to connect on Instagram, Facebook, and you can definitely order the teas. I can tell you they're really good. And so I'm gonna be your test dummy for the Yoni steam. I'm actually gonna try. You got me like really like I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna try that.
I'm gonna give it a shot.
Yeah, I'm gonna let you know what that experience was. So I'll be your person. But
Thank
I like being that. But I wanted to also elevate some of the things that you mentioned throughout our conversation. I put them as Tiffany T. Managing under managing mental health, the key is to really learn more about who you are, understanding your story, my story, and really not comparing to others. And you mentioned that there's a thin line between inspiration and imitation that we should be mindful of. Another key thing that you mentioned about planning is really important for business sustainability and strategically thinking about how to support those gaps. As Tiffany mentioned, I don't make sales every day. In my business, I do not make sales every day, but I have to manage through those gaps because I still have someone who spends like it's their money in my house, my little person. And it's like, I have like, bills, phone, operation expenses. So I do have to plan accordingly for those, which is really important. The other
Mm-hmm.
thing that you mentioned is to write all your ideas down and stay with your goals. It's ebbs and flows that you have to experience within your business and you have to continue.
Yep.
We're encouraging you to continue, right? Because on the other side, even though there's challenges, there's beauty in what
Yes.
you create.
Mm-hmm.
The other thing that I thought was really early on, you mentioned that you noticed that there was a gap in the tea industry and you decided to create a space for tea customization. I thought that that was perfect in terms of being able to see something and become a person who solves problems. Not that it was a problem, but you saw a need that you can fill within this specific space. So there you go. Want to connect? Please do not hesitate to check Tiffany out and her products. And just, order. I always say that, when you are supporting a business owner, specifically a Black owned business owner, right? That's just what we happen to be, two women, Black women owners.
Yes.
It is not or should not come across that we are becoming wealthy, which
Mm-hmm.
maybe some folks goes, but sometimes it's just a matter of us putting lights and keeping lights on, just like you're supporting the other businesses as well. So
Mm-hmm.
please keep in mind that, when you're out doing your due diligence and shopping, don't hesitate to shop at Personality or 11375 because we out here trying
Yes.
to do something for a social cause and environmental cause to make this world a little bit better. So,
Yes.
Tiffany, any last words?
Thank you so much for having me. I am certainly looking forward to fulfilling some new orders, meeting some new hotties on the way. This
Please.
is, yes, the hot teas. And for the kids, I love to drink the teas as well. My QTs. My niece is a QT. She enjoys her LL Cool tea as well. So
That's pretty good.
yes, thank you. I'm very grateful to be able to share my story on your platform. Thank you so much for having me.
Well, looking forward to having you to support again. If you want to connect,
Yeah.
www.personality.biz, on Instagram, shop personality, and email is thepersonality@gmail.com.
Yeah.
And again, don't hesitate, like, share, follow. All of that helps to build brand, but even leaving a positive comment on Google on page to be able to support and elevate the business and the brand. And it's organic, so make it work. Thank you,
Yes, indeed.
Tiffany.
Thank you so much, Anita.
All right, take good care.
You as well. Thank you.
So again, I am super, 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 super excited to have met Tiffany in person and have tried product. Again, if you want to support, please do not hesitate. www.personality.biz on Instagram, shop personality. Email is thepersonality@gmail.com. And I also wanted to just highlight something that came up that was elevated, the importance of managing mental health. You have to really learn and know who you are, understand your story and not compare yourselves to others, because it is real and it can happen to the best of us. Want to also share that, I serve in a number of capacities with 11375. If you're interested in reaching us, reaching me, in my team, you can reach us at 11375.com, 718-691-8966, or info@11375.com. We are on all the social platforms, Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok. Please do not hesitate to reach out to us to support your vision, goals, and dreams. If you're interested in being featured or want to buy an ad, this is a space where we are looking for other courageous entrepreneurs to be able to join us in this process. If you're interested in being featured, want to buy an ad, your ads help to support our Youth Entrepreneur Accountability Group that we work to support every year at the Full Circle Business Brunch Experience. Please contact us at 718-691-8966 or info@11375.com. Very grateful for the opportunity to share space today with Tiffany. And I'm looking forward to having more dynamic interactions such as that. But until such time, see you then. This week, I'm thinking about the importance of focus. Focusing on yourself, focusing on your business if you have one, just focusing on purpose. One of the things that I'm learning is that having focus is a requirement. Being very strategic, aligning all of your things that you do with the goals that you have on your life. Focus isn't optional. It's actually imperative to your business growth. So stay the course and keep pressing. Focus, focus, focus. It will happen. Welcome to 11375. My name is Anita Pierce, and I am the owner of a New York-based MWBE certified business consultancy. We focus on business education for startups, and we also connect mid-sized companies, corporations, community-based organizations, and government agencies to foster affordable solutions that will allow your business to flourish. We elevate the awareness of our communities with regards to financial, mental, and also economic wellness. Some of our services include project management, training and facilitation, stakeholder engagement, and also advocacy within the business community. If you're interested in some of our services or all of them, please do not hesitate to reach out to us. We're on all of the social platforms at 11375, or you can check us out at our website at 11375.com. We look forward to supporting you and your business goals.